Gravity Falls took 4 years to complete 2 seasons, but with a whopping 40 episodes filling out that schedule, there's plenty to satiate your mystery-loving sweet tooth. Everyone compares it to Eerie, Indiana, for good reason. Both shows deal with an underlying mystery surrounding the town. I don't think it was explored or fully realized though in Eerie. If I'm not mistaken, they kept alluding to Dash X being part of some bigger conspiracy. Unfortunately, the show was sent to the other dimension before we got to see that play out. And speaking of the other dimension, that Eerie Indiana spinoff isn't as bad as people make it out to be. Everybody acts like that show ran over their 3-legged puppy or something. Did y'all forget it's got that one troubled kid from Degrassi? No, not Ellie. That dude who I think dated Emma. Speaking of Emma, did y'all see her in that documentary? She acknowledged it, and you know what? I appreciate her as a person more for it. Now, what was I talking about? Oh, right, Gravity Falls. The show is packed full of nostalgic energy that makes you laugh as well as pulls at your heartstrings like it's the last half of November rain. From uncovering mysteries and spending the summer with family and cool friends to having your first big crush. And why was it always an older girl? Like Dipper, my first crush was an older redhead. I'm just saying, this show was relatable. So let's get into it. The first episode drops us right into the action. The pilot does a great job of establishing its tone for the series. I feel like as good as The Simpsons was, it didn't really find itself till season 3.
Wait a minute, isn't anybody gonna follow in my footsteps?
Tourist Trap uses 2 tropes to hook us in. It subverts our expectations with the fake out calm narration being ripped apart by a golf cart tearing through a billboard. The kids being chased by a giant shadowy monster grips the viewer by piquing curiosity. Also, much like The Simpsons, the episode was leading you one direction only to pull the rug out from under you. Like that one episode of The Simpsons where you think they're gonna buy a casket but end up with a tennis court.
Raiders! I don't think they saw me.
Here, you're thinking you're in for a zombie episode, only for it to be gnomes. The second trope used is the flashback recounting the events that got us here.
You may be wondering what we're doing in a golf cart, fleeing from a creature of unimaginable horror. Rest assured, there's a perfectly logical explanation.
Admittedly, I'm not always a fan of this tactic. It was used in the first Deadpool movie, and although it's a good movie, I've already seen you as Deadpool, just give me more of that. That's how I feel about it. But since this is a 30-minute show, it's a bit more tolerable. In the commentary, Jonan Vasquez, Alex Hirsch, says he wasn't really wanting to do a kid's show, but Disney really wanted him to pitch something, so he came up with the concept and created Grunkle Stan to sabotage his chances of getting greenlit. But when it did, he came up with this broad outline, knowing the Mystery Shack was a cover for the lab that his brother used before he disappeared, and that's about it. Bill Cipher, the portal, and the McGuckin connection, all that was created as the show went on. The way the series plays out, I could have sworn they mapped out the whole thing before scripting the first episode. Speaking of the first episode, we only ever see the twins as parents here as they dress the kids to ship them out. In the book of Bill, it's suggested that the parents sent them away for the summer so they can work on their marriage in some capacity. Truly heartbreaking as it recontextualizes the behavior of the kids throughout the series. To sum it up quickly, the kids become attached to different goals and fight to maintain them. Dipper occupies himself with solving the mysteries, eventually latching on to an uncle who traded family for adventure, and Mabel wants to cling on to that childlike wonder and innocence where nothing can ever harm her. And as fans of the show, you only want what's best for these fictional characters. But remember, Bill's a trickster, not the trickster. That's another guy. See my episode on Summerween. Bill isn't necessarily a liar per se, but he'll twist his words to manipulate your psyche.
Yeesh, kid, relax. All I want is a puppet.
A puppet? What are you playing at?
Everyone loves puppets, and it looks to me like you've got a surplus.
So I'm not gonna feed into the idea that their parents are splitting up. Getting back on track here, I like how Gravity Falls maintains continuity. Shows that do this reward the viewers for paying attention. Like when Al Bundy shot his neighbor's dog.
I see you! Freeze or I'll shoot!
Only for the neighbor to bring it back up 10 or 11 episodes later.
Remember what you did to my dog, Al?
Yes, I do.
To continue then.
This kind of rapport with the audience harnesses the respect needed for longevity. It creates stakes in the show that mean something and abolishes that status quo ideology that television often utilizes for convenience. At the end of the episode, Stan lets the kids grab one item from the mystery shack. This is where Dipper gets his signature blue cap, and Mabel gets a grappling hook. Here, it's played to defy her archetype, but the way it comes through in the end literally gave me chills. Nobody talks about that. Maybe I'm the only one who cares, but that single setup and payoff hit harder than Avengers Endgame. Mabel and that grappling hook almost brought a tear to my eye with the weight that 2-second scene carried. Staying on the subject of Mabel, it was a bit hard at first to separate her from Luis from Bob's Burgers.
STDs, Tina, have you heard of them? Have you heard of herpes? Have you?
Yes.
Do you know what herpes feels like on your mouth?
Yes.
What? What is it? What?
Like,
What can I say? I guess I'm just irresistible. Oh, coming!
Kristen Shaw's voice is so distinct. If she wasn't such a great voice actress, this could have been a real train wreck. But the two characters couldn't be more opposite, and Shaw really nails the character of Mabel. One character I can't say the same for is Blendin Blandin.
You better find those kids! I'm gonna keep stammering until you find them!
I hate that guy. Let's move.
He's pretty much Morty in his awkward unconfidence.
Gotta admit, Rick, when you popped this scheme, I wasn't sure it was gonna work.
They share the same voice actor, but you already knew that. I know Disney gave Alex Hirsch a lot of pushback in the censorship department, but I think the compromises worked in the show's favor. I'd say Smooch Mark is funnier than saying Hickey.
Check out this giant smooch mark he gave me.
It's more palatable, like how Futurama says underpants instead of underwear. It just renders a funnier image.
Fry, why are you looking for Flexo in my underpants drawer?
I didn't find him here 10 minutes ago, so I thought it was time to check again.
The episode doesn't take long to get the mystery going. The fact that it shows gnomes in the book, but all the signs point to Norman being a zombie was a nice twist. They wanted Mabel to be their queen, but she had to give him a hard pass. We see later though that she falls in love with a merman, so she'll love a fish, but she's too good for a short king. Story of my life. At this point of the episode, I was still wondering where the giant monster from the beginning was. So when the gnomes went full Voltron to create the shadowy giant from the beginning, I thought I seen everything. And it only goes up from here. The chase is action-packed, and the Blendin Blandin edition left me stupefied. After that reveal and rewatching this episode, my mind was blown. I don't know of many other shows that reward the viewers like that. Futurama did it with Nibbler, but outside that, no other show comes to mind. The tongue-in-cheek humor just kisses slapstick, but never crosses that threshold in my opinion. It stays firmly in the pocket of screwball energy.
Behold, the world's most distracting object. Just try to look away. You can't. I can't even remember what I was talking about.
Mabel defeating the gnomes with the leaf blower was a nice payoff to a setup from earlier. Tourist Trap should be studied by anyone writing a pilot. Granted, this wasn't the first episode written in the actual series, it was actually 7th in the production order. Alex Hirsch and his team were already working on 6 other episodes, so they were able to tweak this plot and add the Easter eggs like Blendin Blandin into the background. This was the first show Hirsch wrote and had full reign over. Having never directed voice actors, he had Kristen Shaw second guessing doing the show after a strenuous voice session. Shaw, already being acquainted with voiceover work, brought in a Hanna-Barbera voice director to help Hirsch get a better grasp on his vision. Shaw said Hirsch didn't trust the takes, and he said in interviews that if Shaw wasn't Mabel, then the whole show might have been scrapped. Maybe I'm paraphrasing that, but I think we can all be grateful that they were a team in the end. I haven't mentioned Jason Ritter much, and that's not because he went unnoticed. I'll acknowledge his Nepo baby status, but he was in another movie that was a childhood favorite of mine. Of course I'm only talking about Freddy vs. Jason. His dad was John Ritter. He was in 10 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, which also had my childhood crush in it. Plus, he was in Stay Tuned, which I thought was a fever dream I had as a child. Gravity Falls is the culmination of my childhood realized in my 20s. The The show has everything from atmosphere to jokes and running gags that'll satisfy the most 80 of HDs. That's my take on Tourist Trap. I'll be back soon to talk about episode 2, along with my take on other TV and movie stuff. Thanks for watching, that's pretty cool of you. Like and subscribe, it boosts my confidence. Now catch you on the flip side. Peace out.